Taryn. Dark, soulless eyes dart across the courtyard as her soldiers await her command. There's a tension in the air that feels like it's stifling the oxygen in the room. It's always the same at cartel meetings like this. When her soldiers are here, it means she wants blood. She opens her mouth and everyone holds their breath collectively. Bring me their blood in barrels. She paces in front of them. By the time you return, I don't want any of the Guerra gang breathing, not even their families. A shiver skates down my spine. There's a reason we call Ileana the Red Queen, and it's not because it's her favorite color. It's because she's a bloodthirsty and ruthless cartel leader. Rumors circulate amongst the men that she bathes in the blood of her enemies, and I know firsthand what she's done. Carnage and blood flash before my eyes, but I push the dark memory away. Not today. Today, I need to focus on the task at hand. The men scramble to follow her orders, and I take a step forward to follow. Despite the twisted nature of her order, not one man hesitates, as they know what happens if they do. Her hand clamps on my shoulder, stopping me. Where do you think you're going? To help. She shakes her head. I don't need you to help with that. Come and have breakfast with me. I clench my jaw. What grows when it's fed, but dies when it's watered? I want to ask her that question, but I know best to shut my mouth. Ileana hates riddles. Hatred grows when it's fed, but dies when it's watered with love. She has fed my hatred daily for 22 years. It consumes me, a dark, intangible entity that fills every void in my soul. And I'm certain she'll not water it with love, as the Red Queen doesn't have the capacity. She's soulless, dead inside, and she's been trying to make me the same, a soldier in her image. While my soul is shattered and fragmented, there are still small pieces she hasn't eradicated. I bow my head and follow her toward the dining room, where a table is set and she takes a seat on one end. I take the chair opposite. She looks me in the eye but doesn't say a word. Those dark eyes of hers have haunted me since I was a child. Ileana isn't my mother, but she took me as her son and raised me. There's nothing loving about her, though. She's every child's worst nightmare. She eats her breakfast. Even though my stomach growls in hunger, I don't touch the food. Not until she permits me to do so. Eat, Taryn. I grab my fork and tuck into the migas, a traditional Mexican breakfast dish. I know better than to refuse the Red Queen's orders. Following her orders has been ingrained in me since I was a child. I can feel her eyes on me as I eat, studying my every move. I ignore it and focus on the food, but when she speaks again, her voice cuts through the silence like a knife. I've got a job for you, she says, her tone cold and calculating. I know better than to ask what it is. She'll tell me when she's ready, in her own time. I need you to do what you do best. Killing and deception. The two skills I excel in are those this woman has honed in me for years. Which is, I confirm, wondering which she needs from me. There's a charity event next week in Mexico City. The mention of Mexico City sets me on edge. I haven't stepped foot in the city since I was a child. The harrowing day when I met Ileana Navarro. The day she turned my world upside down. A flash of blood enters my memories, and I force it away. Not now. And you want me to attend? She nods in response. The Estrada cartel will be there. I want to know why. Mexico City is a cesspit of crime where no single organization rules. It's open territory and fucking dangerous. I know that all too well. What do you believe they want? Ileana wouldn't send me in there if she doesn't think they're after something valuable. The city. My brow furrows. Mexico City? I confirm. I see the irritation heighten as she clenches her jaw. Of course. What other city would I be talking about? It's impossible. No one has held Mexico City for years. It's not impossible, and the North American leader of the Estrada cartel is ruthless in his pursuit of more. Audric Volkov, who leads the stateside operations of the Estrada cartel, is Russian. When I heard the news, I was sure that Pablo Estrada had gone more insane than me. Audric Volkov forced his hand and took out Pablo's brother, before forcing his niece into a marriage she didn't want. The guy is almost as ruthless as Ileana herself, and I think it's shaken her, something I've rarely seen. Perhaps, I say, stalling as I consider my next words. What do you want me to do about it? I need you to be my eyes and ears. She stabs her fork into a tomato, the juices spraying everywhere. As you know, I'm barred from entering the city. I know that, and for good fucking reason. Oh, barred, you say? Barred like a cage, or barred like a tune we forgot to play? I tilt my head, grinning at her. Elena growls. I don't want any of your games or riddles this morning, Taryn. Keep your mouth shut if you've got nothing constructive to say. I cut off my words abruptly, swallowing down the rising tide of resentment. Elena may control my actions, but she could never control my thoughts. I feel the corners of my mouth twitch into a smirk. Very well, Elena. My voice is a low purr, coated with feigned obedience I've mastered over the years. As she turns her attention to her food, my gaze hardens and my smirk gives way to a grimace. Her men call me the Mad Hatter, but there's a method to my madness. You've got to be mad to put up with what I've endured. I can almost taste the bitter bile of hatred for the woman who stole my childhood. My fingers tap an erratic rhythm on the table, mimicking an orchestra of chaotic thoughts playing in my head. The metallic clink of my rings against the wood echoes in the tense silence. Elena clears her throat, breaking the spell. You'll tell me everything that goes on in the city. Her tone brooks no argument, but I can see the crackle of danger in her eyes. Something has rattled her, and she's looking to regain control. I nod once, a silent promise to carry out her orders. But as I get up from the table and approach the door, my mind is already churning with my plans. Plans to take back control of my life, no matter the cost. Alice. The waves crash against the shore as exotic birds chirping fill the air. I take a long sip of my margarita before reclining back on my sunbed and exhaling. Paradise. This vacation is exactly what I needed 3 weeks before the start of my senior year at Brown. It'll be a lot of work to remain top of my class. For now, I can relax and unwind with my best friends. This is the life, isn't it? Luna asks, flicking her ebony hair behind her. I nod. Yeah, where's Callie? She smirks and nods toward a small cove off the beach, where she's wrapped in the arms of a hot Mexican guy. I shake my head. Typical Callie. Blake is paddling on her surfboard, but has complained that the waves aren't big enough since we arrived. They're perfect for me. I don't want to be swept under the ocean while trying to take a dip. Luna chuckles, her green eyes twinkling in the midday sun. Do you think Callie's new friend knows she can't speak Spanish? I laugh. Probably not, but you know Callie. She'll communicate. She nods, her gaze drifting back to the ocean. We're going to miss these days. We'll be stuck in the library soon, buried under piles of books. Yeah, I know, I say, sighing, my eyes on the azure blue of the sea. But for now, let's enjoy the sun, the sea, and the margaritas. Cheers to that. She clinks her glass against mine, and we both take a sip. Blake comes out of the sea, her surfboard under her arm, and beautiful golden hair in curls across her shoulders. It's hard to believe she's just been in the sea, as she looks like a fashion model. Useless again, Luna rolls her eyes. Take a breath, will you? We're on vacation. It's about relaxation, not catching the biggest wave. But Blake's always been a whirlwind of energy, her feet never quite touching the ground long enough to rest. It's part of her charm, but part of it is her ADHD always needing to be on the move, always seeking the next rush of adrenaline. She shrugs, drops her board in the sand, and scans the horizon. Fine, I'll go for a swim. Luna and I exchange glances as she runs back into the water. Gotta love her, I say. She nods. You know, we need to plan our next vacation for winter break, she sighs. We don't go away enough. I bite the inside of my cheek because we don't have the money to take many vacations. Luna found this resort cheap online, and at first, I was worried as it's not the safest part of Mexico on the northwest coast. A place where tourists rarely come, but it's even more idyllic because of that. Maybe, I say. She pouts. Come on, don't be a downer. We'll make it work, like we always do. I can't help but smile at Luna's optimism. She always knows how to find the silver lining in any situation. And she's right. We always make things work, even when money is tight. But as much as I love traveling and exploring new places, part of me can't help but feel guilty for spending money on vacations when there are so many other things we could use it for. We both work part-time jobs that don't pay well to cover our rent and bills. It took some serious savings to afford this vacation. Unless we suddenly get pay rises at Mamacini's, then I'm not sure we have enough time to save by winter break. She blows out a breath. Fine. Spring break? I smile. It's doable. I'm going to hold you to that, she says. I roll my eyes, noticing that Callie has finally extricated herself from her lover boy's arms and is walking this way. Luna raises a brow at her as she approaches and flops down on the sunbed next to her. Having fun? Callie shrugs. He's hot, but not the best kisser, she sighs. Time to move on. Luna and I both laugh as Callie has impossibly high standards. She's so gorgeous, she can have the highest standards she wants. But she's yet to find a man to have more than one date with. There's always something she finds a fault in, whether it be the way he kisses, dresses, or, I kid you not, the way he chews. Callie is as fussy as they come with men. It'll be a miracle if she ever actually finds a steady boyfriend. What's our plans for tonight? Callie asks, glancing over at me. As always, I take the role of itinerary planner. Dinner at the resort. Callie sighs. Sounds boring. Right? Luna agrees. We need to go out and meet some hot young men. We're single and ready to mingle. I shake my head. It's safer to remain in the resort, and there are men here at the hotel. Callie and Luna sigh, exchanging glances. She won't budge, will she? Callie asks. Luna shakes her head. Doesn't seem like it. You realize I'm right here? And no, I won't budge. We agreed we'd remain in the resort because this area isn't the safest. Such a stick in the mud, Callie says, smiling teasingly. I ignore her comment, shaking my head. Blake will agree. Blake always agrees with you, Luna points out. It's true. Blake and I have been friends the longest and are more alike out of our friend group. We met in high school in Atlanta and were close friends, but we became even closer when we both attended Brown. And that's when we met Callie and Luna, our two roommates. We've all lived together since our freshman year. It's the start of senior year, the start of the end of an era. Because she's sensible, I reply. Who's sensible? Blake asks as she approaches, looking like a goddess that just emerged from the sea. You, Callie says, her nose wrinkling. We wanted to go out drinking tonight, but Alice says we must stay in the resort. Agreed, Blake says, smirking at me. It's far too dangerous to go gallivanting here at night. Callie and Luna make exaggerated sighing noises, flopping back on their sunbeds. I thought we were here to have fun, Callie says. We can have fun in the hotel, I suggest. There's a pool, a bar, a restaurant, and we have each other for company. Blake grins. Exactly. Isn't that why we're here? To enjoy each other's company before senior year turns us into workaholics? Luna groans. Don't remind me. This year is going to be fucking hard. Despite Luna's carefree attitude and being practically the opposite of a typical nerd in appearance, she majors in computer science. She's a literal genius. It boggles my mind the way she can read and write code. It's like a different language, and she's amazing at it, putting all the nerds to shame as she's one of the top in her class. Blake is studying psychology, while Callie is studying architecture, and has already secured an internship at one of the top architect firms in Boston, Perkins. On the other hand, I took creative writing because I love it, much to my adoptive parents' disgust. They think I should major in a more academic subject because they can't see what I could get from creative writing. However, I've already secured an internship at Boston's biggest publishing house, Pendulum Press, as a junior editor once I graduate. I was adopted by them when I was 6 years old, after my mom, my dad, and my sister were killed in a car accident. A truck swerved on the highway after they broke down and hit their car, killing them instantly. The guilt I felt over it has lived with me since they were on the way to pick me up from school. Jenna, my sister, was only 2 years old. My memories of all of them are so hazy. It's going to be fun, although I can't believe we don't know where we'll all be in a year, I say, trying to push the thought of my dead family from my mind. Luna clears her throat. You and Callie do. At least you two will still be roomies. She sighs heavily. If I don't find an internship at a software company in Boston, I might have to move away from you guys, she pouts. You'll find a job in Boston with no problem, I say, shaking my head. Unfortunately, it appears software companies are prejudiced as fuck. They see Luna, and they don't believe her credentials. After all, she's 5'7", with dark hair, beautiful eyes, and gorgeous features because of her mixed heritage. Her mom is Japanese and her dad is Italian. She looks like a model and gets judged for it, which is ridiculous. I often feel like I don't fit in with my 3 friends. They're all so gorgeous. Blake is your typical girl next door with blonde hair, stunning blue eyes, and legs for miles because she's so tall. She's not far off 6 feet tall. Callie is stunning too. She has a mixed heritage like Luna. Her mom is Filipino born and bred, and her dad is Mexican but born in Texas. And then there's me. Boring American girl, slightly overweight, with chestnut brown hair and blue eyes. I might have to wear a geek disguise to secure a job. It's like they've never heard of a remotely attractive woman being able to code. She runs a hand through her hair. They're all fucking assholes, especially considering I'm better than all of them, and I can hack the shit out of all of their systems. I must admit, She's gone for about 10 internships that she's more than qualified for, all of which have turned her down. In high school, she used to hack for money until her parents found out and kicked her out just weeks before she started college. She used the money she saved for her school fees and hasn't spoken to them since. When she enrolled at Brown, she gave up the hacking and now works at the same pizza place as me. What about freelance? Blake suggests, sitting on her sunbed and tapping her foot rhythmically on the sand. There's a high demand for freelance software developers. You might as well make your way if they're being jerks. Luna contemplates that before nodding. Maybe. Anything to move to Boston with you guys. Freelance just opens up temptation, though. The temptation to hack. I know she'd rather have a steady income from a legitimate company. What about you, Blake? I ask, wondering if she's decided what to do. Her dad has a very high position as a senior surgeon at a hospital in Atlanta, and he secured her a position as a psychiatrist. However, she's been on the fence about taking it. Her parents have been all about achievements all her life, but they favor her brother, who's taken after his dad and become a heart surgeon. And they often tell her she wouldn't have been able to get where she is without them. I'm still trying to work out what to do about the position in Atlanta. She pinches the bridge of her nose. I know they'll hold it over me if I take it. And then I'd have to be in Atlanta rather than Boston with you guys, she sighs. It's a great position, though. Blake looks conflicted, and I sympathize with her dilemma. I don't know what to do, she says, finally looking up at us. I don't want to disappoint my parents, but I also want to make my way in life. Luna reaches over and squeezes her hand. We'll support you no matter what you decide. Don't let anyone else's expectations dictate your decision. Blake smiles. Thanks. I needed to hear that. Do you know what? Callie asks, standing. What? I ask. It's time to get more cocktails. This conversation is too serious, and this is a holiday to forget about anything serious for 1 week. Callie sets her hands on her hips. We all chuckle as she looks so stern. I'm not joking. She tosses her beach bag over her shoulder. Come on, we're going to the bar. She can be so bossy. But we all grab our bags, following her off the beach toward the bar by the pool. What are you having? Blake asks, probably because Luna and I have been trying out the bar since 11 this morning. Margarita, of course. They're damn good. Seconded, Luna says. Blake nods and glances at the bartender. 3 margaritas and... What do you want, Callie? I'll have a shot of tequila. She glares at me and Luna. Gotta catch up with these alcoholics. We all laugh. And a tequila shot, please, Blake finishes. The bartender nods his head and goes to get our drinks. We all gaze around the restaurant. It's our first day here, and it seems quiet. There are few men for Callie and Luna to flirt with. Blake and I don't often concern ourselves with hooking up with random guys, and I've not been near a man for a long time. Blake has been helping me get some perspective on my intimacy issues, even though she doesn't know the root cause. Where have you gone to? Blake asks, nudging me. I shake my head. Nowhere, I lie, hating that she'll probably know I'm lying because she's a damn good psychologist. She's about to speak when a loud noise that sounds worryingly like a gunshot pierces the air. What the fuck was that? And then there's even more noise that is unmistakable. Machine guns. I stare at the bartender. What the fuck is going on? His eyes are wide as he quickly rushes out from behind the bar. Run for your lives. Shit, Blake says. This way. She takes off down toward the beach and we all follow her, running away from the source of the shooting. So much for the resort being safe, Luna says as we sprint side by side. I swallow the bile rising in my throat, wondering if we're going to die here in Mexico. It would be a ridiculous price to pay for a cheap holiday. When we get down to the beach, Callie screams, And that's when I see 10 men approaching the resort from the beach, all wielding machine guns. We move to run, but they call out, "Freeze, or we'll shoot!" We raise our hands above our heads, turning back to face the gunmen. 4 of them approach us with their guns lowered, while the other men keep them trained on us. They clap handcuffs onto our arms, speaking to each other in Spanish. I catch some words. 2 of the most concerning are putas perfectas, which means perfect whores. My stomach twists with sickness. I can't believe that paradise just turned into a nightmare at the flick of a switch. Never ignore your gut, as I had a bad feeling about this holiday before we booked it, and now I wish I'd listened to that feeling. We won't make it home alive. Taryn. The men march back into the house with solemn expressions. Most of these guys don't serve Ileana by choice, much like me. "How did it go, Carlos?" I ask one of her generals. His jaw clenches as he meets my gaze. It's done. Juan has taken 4 Americans to the basement. I freeze. Ileana said no survivors. They had nothing to do with the Guerra gang, but were staying at their resort. Ileana mentioned she didn't want any tourists involved. Why did you kidnap them then? I clench my fists by my sides. Jorge's orders. He believes they'll fetch us a good price. Jorge is one of the few men who follows Ileana by choice. He's as cold and calculated as she is, so he heads her army. Very well. I'll go and visit them. Carlos nods as I turn and head toward the basement, unease settling in the pit of my stomach. Jorge would only spare these women if they were beautiful enough to be put up for auction. I glare at the door to the basement, wishing I could burn this place to the ground. Give it time. How long? How long must I endure this bullshit? The voice in my head doesn't respond. As I open the door and descend into the darkness, spiders crawl across my skin as the walls close in on me. Darkness swells within me as I descend the steps into the torture chambers of Ileana Navarro. It's a living, breathing entity that wants to bathe in the blood of our prisoners. The men should have fucking killed the tourists, no matter how much they might fetch. They'll be all over the news once they're reported missing by their families. I move around the corner and into the first chamber, where 2 girls are being held. One with golden curls and green eyes, and the other has olive skin and dark brown eyes. They're both beautiful in their own right. They look at me and cower, their eyes wide with fear, clutching onto each other. And instantly, I understand why the men didn't kill them. They'll fetch a handsome price on the open market, but no doubt they wouldn't mind having them beforehand in their beds. I move to the next chamber, and my steps falter. The room is dim, the single bulb hanging from the ceiling barely effective. But there she is, shackled and bound, but radiant as a blossom in the moonlight. Her terrified eyes, the color of the clearest skies, meet mine, striking me like a lightning bolt. I feel like I'm standing at the edge of a precipice, staring into the unknown. The girl's beauty is a paradox, a hideous delight. It cuts through the stench of fear and blood, insinuating itself into the marrow of my madness. I can't help but stand there, entranced, watching her tremble. I take a step, then another, each footfall echoing ominously. The chains around my little bird's wrists rattle as she instinctively recoils. Her sky-blue eyes grow impossibly wide. Leaning toward her, a smile plays on my lips, and my voice echoes in the corridor as I speak. What's seen in the middle of March and April that can't be seen at the beginning or end of either? Confusion flashes in her eyes. her brows furrowing as she tries to interpret the riddle. What? The sound of her fragile voice is a beautiful melody amid chaos. I ignore her confusion, the question hanging in the air between us. My voice barely more than a whisper. And who might you be, little bird? I lean closer, the cold steel of the bars pressing against my face. Her lip trembles as she tightens her grasp on her friend. Alice, she whispers. Alice. I don't ask for her friend's name. She doesn't interest me in the slightest. A dangerous spark ignites in my heart at the thought of having her to myself, even though I know Ileana wouldn't allow it. I watch her shrink into the shadows. Here's another riddle for you, Alice, I purr. What dances without legs, whispers without voice, bites without teeth, and dies without life? She shakes her head. I don't know. My eyes narrow as I lean in closer, my face inches away from hers. And if it weren't for the bars, I'd have her in my hands. Think, little bird. She closes her eyes, breathing in short gasps as she tries to solve my riddle. But I know she won't be able to, not in her state of terror. I lean back, watching her struggle. Fear can cripple even the brightest minds. But whether she is bright remains to be seen. She intrigues me. With her wide, innocent eyes and trembling lips, she exudes a certain vulnerability that I can't resist. Come closer, I demand. She hesitates, her eyes wide, and then, finally, she relents and steps closer to the bars. I reach through them and touch her cheek gently with the back of my hand, relishing in the softness of her skin. It's wind, I say softly, my voice devoid of the menacing tone I'd used earlier. The wind dances without legs, whispers without voice, and bites without teeth. And it dies when it stops blowing. I watch as a flicker of understanding passes through her eyes before being drowned out by fear again. She pulls away from my touch, huddling closer to her friend for protection. I glance at the friend. She, too, is beautiful, with dark ebony hair and tan skin. However, no one's beauty outshines Alice's. Her eyes are a brilliant shade of sky blue, with a spark of determination flickering in their depths. Each strand of her wavy brown hair shimmers in the scarce light in the room, giving her an ethereal glow. Her lips are full, tempting me to erase the fear etched onto her face and replace it with red-hot desire. Her skin is as delicate as porcelain, so perfect it could easily crack. She stands out like a diamond amidst stones. In all her fragile beauty, Alice has claimed a corner of my mind in 2 seconds flat. A part of my mind I'd believed was impervious to distractions. What are you going to do with us? I tilt my head, considering her question. A whirlwind of chaotic thoughts and images grace my mind, many too perverse to put into words. I would delight in breaking this girl and putting her back together again, making her fit against my broken pieces like a jigsaw puzzle. Your eyes are open, and I'm there. Close them. I'm there too. What am I? The other girl snorts. That's easy. It's the dark. I glare at her. Did I ask you? She retreats a little at the tone of my voice. No. Then stay out of it. I turn my attention back to Alice. Shame you didn't answer any of my riddles, little bird. Maybe next time. I lean closer, wishing the bars weren't between us and counting the heartbeats that drum against my chest. Come here, I demand again. She steps forward and I reach through and cup her chin, forcing her eyes to mine. My thumb brushes across her trembling lips and she visibly swallows. You're an enigma, little bird, and I intend to unravel every layer until you're completely in my grasp. She looks at me with wide eyes, fear and curiosity battling for dominance. What do you want? I lean in even closer, my face squashed against the bars. You. Her breath hitches again, but her gaze has a spark of defiance. Despite her fear, she refuses to cower. I'm intrigued by her strength and resolve. What do you intend to do with me? I smile, whispering in the space between us. Whatever I please. I can feel the tremors running through her body, but I also sense something else. Desire. She may be afraid of me, but a part of her also wants me as much. And I will use that to my advantage. I release her chin, breaking our intimate connection. But for now, I've business to attend to. As I turn to leave, I can't help but wonder how long it'll take for her to succumb to me. How long before she realizes she belongs to me, body and soul. The only spanner in the works will be Alana. She's selfish and wants me all to herself. If she knew I had eyes for Alice, she'd murder her in front of me. A foreign, possessive feeling stirs at the thought of Alice in danger. A primal instinct drives a need to protect what's mine. I've never felt a pull like this, a powerful urge to claim, possess, and protect. It's as if Alice has suddenly become a vital part of my existence, and the mere thought of her being harmed raises a fierceness within me that could burn entire worlds. I'll have to tread carefully, keeping Alana and Alice in the dark until I can ensure Alice's safety and claim her openly. Alice. What the fuck was that? Luna asks, eyes as wide as saucers. I shake my head, my eyes pinned to where that man questioned us, or more like me. He barely looked at Luna. It was clear from one look in his eyes he wasn't sound of mind, but when he spoke, I tremble. The memory of his voice haunts me. I can't believe this is happening. Luna's voice breaks as she speaks. I reach for her hand, squeezing. We need to get out of here, I say, my voice barely above a whisper. Right, but how? She signals to the bars of our cage. Little bird. The man's voice echoes in my head. I'm a bird trapped in a cage. Luna? Alice? Blake's voice catches our attention, and then we notice a large crack in the wall between our cells. I rush over to it. Oh my God, are you guys okay? Shaken, she glances at Callie, who's rocking back and forth, clutching her legs into her chest on the floor. Callie is more shaken than me. I nod. We need to get out of here before that man returns. But how? Luna asks, her voice laced with desperation. I glance around the cell, searching for any escape routes, and then I spot a small vent in the ceiling. Up there, I say, pointing to the vent. Luna purses her lips. How small do you think we are? I admit it looks like a tiny gap and it would be a squeeze, but we're out of options. We need to at least try. Give me a boost. The look on her face is one of pure horror. Or don't, and we can just rot in here and die. She sighs, crouching down for me to put my foot in her hands. This day is just getting worse and worse. I think giving me a boost will be the highlight of your day if we don't get out of here. My voice is strained as I climb onto her shoulders and reach the vent. Fuck, you're heavier than you look. I grit my teeth as I've never been stick-thin like her, so I don't appreciate the comment. I pry the grill from the vent and pass it to Luna, and then I stick my head into the hole, looking on either side. It's dark and thinner on the inside than I imagined. Luna's hands are shaking beneath my feet. What do you think? I shake my head. It's tight, and I don't know where it leads, but what choice do we have? Okay, try to fit inside. My heart hammers against my rib cage as I brace my hands on the metal and use my severely lacking upper body strength to pull myself up. I struggle, trying to get my legs in behind me. This looks so much easier in the movies. Are you sure you can get up there? Luna asks. I grind my teeth, probably looking like a fish out of water, as I cannot pull myself into the vent. The metal grates scrape against my skin, but I push through the discomfort. Suddenly, a loud bang echoes throughout the vent, causing me to lose my grip. I land on the concrete floor with a thud. Shit! I cry. Luna rushes over to my side. Oh God, are you okay? Someone's coming, Blake warns. The vent cover remains on the floor, and I quickly grab it, pushing it behind me. The man who was here merely 20 minutes ago reappears. Alice, Alice, Alice. He shakes his head. Did you think we don't have cameras here, little bird? Cameras. I glance around and spot one in the corner, feeling like a fool for not checking that first. And now you're injured, aren't you? Did you break your wing as you fell? I glare at him and force myself to my feet despite the pain. No, am badly bruised for sure. I think I'm going to check. He's holding the keys to the prison cell and slides them into the lock. Luna steps forward. The man stills, dark eyes narrowing. Stay back, he glares at her. You don't want to discover what happens if you try to escape. He flashes a row of perfectly white teeth, which look stark against his gorgeous tanned skin. Luna and I both shudder as he continues to unlock the door. The click of the lock makes my heart pound harder. An instinct to fight and escape claws at every muscle in my body. I feel like I'm one of those idiots you shout at on the TV not to attempt an escape because there's practically no chance of it working out, but it's a lot different when you're in the situation. As he slides open the door, I bide my time. Once he steps inside, I'll make my move. Luna meets my gaze, shaking her head. She can read what I intend to do, which gives me pause. Whatever you're thinking, little bird, don't do it. His voice snaps my attention back to him. Come here, he demands. I accept that there's no escape. This man would overpower me in a heartbeat if I tried to get away. Releasing a shaky breath, I force one foot before the other and walk to him. Once within a foot, he grabs my hair and yanks my head back. Fly out of here, but there's nowhere for you to go, he breathes, gazing down at me with that same manic look I'd seen earlier. In the cage, a bird might sing, not of joy, but of longing. It yearns for the sky that it sees but cannot touch. Each bar in its cage, a cruel reminder of its clipped wings. He moves his hands to my shoulder blades and moves them in circles. Where are your wings? I glare at him, wondering if he's insane. He releases my hair and grabs my wrist, yanking me out of the cell and shutting it closed behind us. I glance back at Luna to see she's staring after me in wide-eyed shock. A tear spills from my eyes down my cheek. He stops when we're out of her sight and pushes me against a wall. Are you hurt? I shrug. No, I'll be a bit bruised, but live. His eyes flash. Turn around. When I don't move, he forces me around and hikes my beach dress up, making me tense. You'll be badly bruised. My Alice. And then I feel his lips at the center of my spine, making my heart kick into gear for an utterly different reason. Let me kiss it better, little bird. I shudder as his lips move from the base of my spine right until he's kissing the back of my neck. Does it feel better now? He murmurs. I can hardly think with this madman behind me, making me feel how no one should feel in my position. My thighs are slick with arousal as he continues to press his lips against my neck. Please, I breathe. I don't know if I'm begging him to stop or for more. He stills. Please, what? I don't know. He chuckles, the sound a little crazy, but also deep and erotic. It's perplexing, isn't it? An enigma encased within the human psyche. What is? I ask, drawn into this man like a moth to a flame. Desire, he breathes. It treads the line between dread and longing. He's right. I should feel dread right now, but that sensation only heightens my longing. What are you doing to me? His breath skates over my skin as he laughs softly. Nothing, little bird. Your own carnal craving paints your confusion. I'm only stoking the fires that already simmer beneath your skin. He forces me around, gazing at me with an intensity that could bring empires to their knees. I think he might kiss me, but he doesn't. We're suspended there, gazing into each other's eyes. The unbelievable thing is that I want him to kiss me. I want to delve into this man's madness. At least it's better than facing my bleak reality. "Taryn!" a man shouts, drawing the man's attention from me. "You aren't supposed to let the prisoners out of the cell!" Taryn. That must be this man's name. He puts distance between us, tearing his eyes from me. "Are you questioning my methods, Pedro?" The other guard cowers at the lethal tone of Taryn's voice, shaking his head. "No, it's just—" Taryn grabs Pedro by the throat and squeezes hard, lifting him a couple of inches off the floor. "You're no one," he growls, nostrils flaring and eyes full of barely contained madness. "I don't expect to be questioned. What would the Red Queen say if she knew?" The Red Queen. I wonder if that's another of his riddles. Pedro's eyes flicker shut as his face turns pale. Finally, he releases Pedro. He drops to the floor in a heap, inhaling a forceful breath of oxygen. His eyes are wide as he clutches his throat. I was finished with her anyway. A paradoxical calm to his tone, considering he almost strangled a guy to death. "Come, little bird, back in your cage." He grabs my wrist and yanks me toward the cell where Luna is waiting, looking more terrified than ever. When she sees I'm okay, some of the fear dissipates. Taryn shoves me in roughly and locks the door, barely glancing at me again. I watch as he retreats, his shirt clinging to his taut, muscular back. Luna rushes to me. "Thank God," I thought. She trails off, as we both know what she thought. She thought I was dead, and for a second, I did too. Until Taryn touched me as if I were the most precious thing in the world to him. It makes no sense, but that's how he makes me feel. I know, so did I. I swallow. "Are you okay, Alice?" Blake asks. I walk back over to the crack and nod. "Yeah. How's Callie holding up?" Callie walks to join Blake. I'm shitting myself. "I think we all are," Luna says. I nod in response, but a part of me isn't terrified. A part of me is intrigued by the man who holds us captive. Taryn is an enigma I want to learn more about, even though my common sense screams at me to run whenever he's close. Taryn. Ileana enters the kitchen where I'm skinning a rabbit I caught earlier. Her brow scrunches and she shakes her head. "We have servants for that." I clench my jaw. "You know I enjoy it." "I hear you took a prisoner from her cell today." Fucking Pedro. I can't do anything around here without people ratting on me. He was the guard on duty when I let her out. What of it? I don't take my eyes off the rabbit, peeling away the skin from the flesh. What I'd give to peel the skin from her flesh while she screams in agony. It would be pure perfection. "Why did you remove her from her cell?" I shrug. "The prisoner fell. I was checking for injuries." I know my actions aren't synonymous with my normal ways. If I caught a prisoner attempting to escape, normally, I'd break their kneecaps to ensure they can't try again. She was trying to escape, Taryn. I drop my knife with a clatter, blood splattering my shirt. If you've got something to say, then say it. I lift my eyes to meet hers. Her jaw clenches. It's just very unlike you. About the event in Mexico City next week. What of it? She asks, looking slightly surprised by the sudden change of subject. I'll take that prisoner with me as my date. Her brow furrows deeper. No chance. She's attractive and quiet, the perfect accomplice to help me blend in. Ileana's jaw clenches. Take the other. I must tread carefully here, as Ileana can't know how I feel about Alice. The others are too loud and foul-mouthed. The one who fell from the vent will be more suitable. I tilt my head. After all, we need to train them if they're going to sell for a lot of money at auction. Ileana raises a brow. You don't normally concern yourself with the training. Perhaps I'm bored and want a new challenge. She laughs. I must admit, it's been a long time since you had female contact. Fine, take her with you, but make sure you keep her close. I clench my jaw. Of course, I'm not an idiot. Ileana thinks I want to fuck her. While that's partly true, it's not the extent of my desire. Alice belongs by my side. She belongs to me. Alice isn't just another prisoner or another asset to be sold to the highest bidder. She has a fire that matches the chaos within me. I want to harness that fire, not put it out. I crave to feel its heat, to lose myself in its intensity. No, you're not. Ileana's lips curve into a smile. I'm sure you have everything under control. I nod, knowing that she trusts me implicitly. A grave fucking mistake, because trust is a double-edged sword. The fragile nature of trust makes it a treacherous path to tread. Ileana must underestimate me if she believes she's snuffed all humanity from my soul. A flashback of blood and chaos enters my mind, but I force it away. Not now. I've made preparations. The jet will be ready to take you to the city on Wednesday morning. You'll return the following evening. I bow my head. Fine. She turns to leave. And Taryn? Yes. Don't fuck it up. I know Mexico City has memories for you, but that is the past. She watches me with cold eyes. We must look to the future. The audacity. I'm shocked Ileana would bring it up, considering she's the reason for those dark, inescapable memories. I take a deep breath, forcing myself to nod. Agreed. She leaves, and I'm alone with my thoughts. I tear the final piece of skin from the flesh and toss it aside, gazing at the blood covering the granite worktop. The flashbacks try to creep into my mind, but I shut them down. I've kept them in check for 22 years, but they've become more persistent, as if my mind is demanding that I take my revenge and end this insanity. It's not the right time yet. To my surprise, my mind returns to sky-blue eyes and porcelain skin. Alice. She will be the key to my salvation, a fragment of sanity in my realm of madness. In her, I might find the strength to face the ghosts of my past and remove the collar around my neck. I string the rabbit above the worktop, knowing Daniela will appreciate my work when she makes dinner this evening. She's always appreciative when I hunt fresh meat, which tastes better than anything she buys from the grocery store. And while Ileana insists that it's below me to skin the animal, I disagree. She keeps me on a leash more often, making it impossible to find an outlet for my rage. 5 days from now, I'll be on a jet with my new obsession, Alice. I sigh heavily as images of her bound and gagged on my bed, with her eyes wide in fear, grace my mind. A throb ignites between my thighs at the heady image. I will feed off her fear and bask in it. Watch as that fear turns to pure fire and she comes apart for me repeatedly. I lean over the counter, bracing myself against the storm of desire threatening to pull me under. Desire is something I rarely feel. I've been under Ileana's thumb for too long, and it's turned me into a shell of a man. And yet, the moment I saw Alice, I felt that part of me coming rushing back in full force. Wednesday can't come soon enough. I can't see her until then, as I don't trust myself or anyone else here. Ileana must never know the extent of my desires for the pretty little prisoner in our basement. Otherwise, chaos will ensue. Sleep eludes me as I stare mindlessly at the stained ceiling. It's been 2 days since I met Alice, and keeping away from her is proving difficult. Alice may be a lamb among wolves, but she's ensnared me in her trap. I grab my cell phone off the nightstand and check the security cameras, sighing when I see her beautiful form curled up on the hay. The desire to visit her is clawing at me so deeply. Watching isn't enough. I need to touch her again, feel her soft skin against mine, and check how badly she's bruised after her fall. Damn it. I climb out of bed, knowing that if word of my visiting a prisoner gets to Ileana, it would be catastrophic for all involved. The guard on duty today is Andre, and he's not as much of a stickler for the rules as Pedro. I'll pass him a bribe, and hell keep my secret. He probably wouldn't look too much into it, as most don't understand the method to my madness. I throw on a pair of sweatpants and a shirt, grabbing my copy of the cell keys and some gel to apply to her bruises. And then I leave my room, descending into hell itself. It's unusual for me to visit the basement by choice. I spent far too much time down here as a child by force. And yet, the descent doesn't feel as heavy as usual, because my sweet Alice is waiting for me. Andre's brow furrows as he looks up from his cell phone. "What are you doing down here, Taryn?" "I need to speak with the prisoners." He raises a brow. He looks at his watch. 3 a.m? I nod. "Here's $100. No one hears of this. Got it?" His eyes light up when he sees the cash. "Of course!" He salutes me. "Your secret is safe with me. Have fun." He winks. I ignore him and walk toward Alice's cell. She's still fast asleep, and so is her friend. I grab the cell bars and squeeze, my knuckles turning white. Fate. In its cruelty, it has bound me to Alice, a radiant beam of innocence and light, only to have her ensnared in the clutches of my nemesis. I dig the cell door key from the pocket in my sweatpants. Alice. I breathe her name, hoping she'll hear me. She doesn't stir. I clench my jaw and open the door, tiptoeing toward her. I don't intend to wake her friend. Her friend is beautiful, and I can admire her beauty, but for me, it pales compared to Alice. Matthias and Tiago, on the other hand, will eat the poor girl alive. In fact, they'll want all the girls, including Alice. I need to protect her from them. Approaching silently, I crouch down and place a hand over Alice's mouth. Her eyes shoot open, panic alight in those sky-blue eyes. Gently, I use my other hand to put a finger over my mouth. After a few beats, some panic eases and she nods. Alice trusts me. It might be a fatal mistake to trust a madman like me. "Come with me," I breathe, my voice barely a whisper. She nods as I release my hand from her mouth and straighten. Alice stands and follows me out of the cell, which I lock to ensure her friend doesn't wake up and try to escape. "What are you doing here?" she whispers. I push her further into the basement where I'd kissed her bruise the other day. "To check your bruising." I force her around and pull her dress up, groaning at the purple and black across her back. This looks painful, little bird. I drag my fingers over the bruise and she shivers. It's okay. I shake my head, hating seeing her hurt. No. Seeing you in pain is like watching the sun being swallowed by the darkness. It's unbearable. I trace the edge of the bruise with a gentleness I didn't know I possessed. You're my daylight, Alice, and I can't bear to see my daylight eclipsed. Taryn, she breathes my name, and I tense. Say that again, I demand. Taryn, she says my name again, only it's more hesitant this time. I like how it sounds when you say my name. She tries to turn around to face me, but I firmly push her against the wall. No, stay still. I pull the gel out of my pocket and put some on my hand. I've got something for the bruising. Gently, I rub the product into the bruised area. The only bruises I want to see on my little bird are those I've inflicted, which were born from passion. And yet, I know if we're going to make this out with our lives, I'll see her harmed more before our salvation. A soft moan escapes her lips as my fingers dance down her spine. Taryn, why? Why? Why am I treating this pretty bird so well? Because she's mine. Why? I repeat. It's the ultimate question, isn't it? Once I'm finished, I yank her around to face me. Pretty little Alice. Her sky blue eyes dilate with desire as she places her hand on my chest, making me tense. Can you help me? I tilt my head. Does Alice desire me, or does she just desire her freedom? I grab a fistful of her hair and yank her head back. Do you want to use me? My nostrils flare with anger at the thought. Do you think I can free you and you'll be safe? Her throat bobs, but that flicker of desire burns brightly. No, she breathes. Then what do you think I can give you, little bird? She bites her bottom lip, drawing my eyes to their fullness. Her breath hitches. Hope, she murmurs, her voice barely above a whisper. Hope that I can feel something again. Feel something again. Why doesn't my little bird feel? All these questions swirl around in my mind. Tell me why you don't feel, I demand. Her jaw clenches and a wall of steel covers the emotion that was blazing with her eyes a moment again. I can't. No? My voice is an icy whisper, a mirror of the steel in her eyes. Or won't. I watch as she remains ice cold under my gaze. I release her hair and cradle her face instead.